Proper story's supposed to start at the beginning. Ain't so simple with this one. Now here's a kid whose whole world got all twisted, leaving him stranded on a rock in the sky. He gets up, sets off for the Bastion, where everyone agreed to go in case of trouble. Ground forms up under his feet as it pointing the way. He don't stop to wonder why. Finds his lifelong friend just lying in the road. Well, it's a touching reunion. He sees what's left of the rippling walls, years of work undone in an instant, in the calamity. That a survivor? No, man. It's a gas fella, forced out from underground. Kid pops him good. Fella got a piece of him, though. An old repeater falls out of the sky. Ain't a gift from the gods, but it'll have to do. Gotta hold her still to spin up the chamber. Kid's worked up quite a thirst by now, so that fountain looks real inviting. Sometimes you just need a drink. A school of squirts tunnels up around him. Must have fled here from the mines. It's a wonder the old saloon's still standing. Used to have the nicest view. Kid finds a memento from a girl he knew. Always used to fancy her. And then he falls to his death. I'm just fooling. He sets foot inside one of Zealandia's famous watering holes. Inside's old Rondi, the bartender. The calamity got him before his drinking did. Then Kid finds his trusty shield. The security takes him for a petty thief. Clang! Shield saves his hide. Windbags start turning up for last call. More squirts start coming out of the woodwork. A big old fella pops out in front of the kid. Sees the way to the Bastion out the window. It's a bit of a drop. He gets a good look at things on his way down. He lands on top of a breaker's bow, and it ain't broke. Kid spies a good perch for some target practice. He knows he should draw the string all the way back. The kid pockets a memento from a breaker, once the fastest man in the land. Good news is the emergency defense is still working. Bad news is they're aiming for the kid. Right back at you. Picks up a few pointers from a dusty old tome. He's a mighty fast learner. He finds the distillery right next to the arsenal. Tough part of town. One sip of the spirits in that distillery, and the kid'll feel like a new man. The arsenal's where the kid can pick the best tools for the job. Some of them squirts birthing like crazy in a couple of corn bins. Ferry barge sends the kid on his way. The Bastion's real close now. Takes a chunk of alloy. Smell of barley and spoiled blueberries fills the air. Scumbags. Kid maybe shouldn't have done what he just did. puts him out of his misery. Finds the core to the wharf district. He steals the city's heart. Might as well. Kid has a feeling he better get a move on. The place is starting to fall. See, that core Kid took was the only thing making this particular rock stay afloat. Kid just keeps running. At last, the Skyway's in sight. Whisks him where he needs to go. Now the kid sees something stranger still. His mind races. Did anybody else survive? Sure enough, he finds another. He finds me. We talk for a spell. There's a bit of the Bastion's power in that crest, enough to point the way to the cores. All I tell him is to set that core of his on the monument there, then watch. I try to let the kid down gently. This is the Bastion, all right, except no one else showed up. Ain't always much to say. And just like that, the Bastion comes alive. Starts growing again, growing stronger. Kid's gotta put its power to good use. Now the Bastion can send him even farther into the wild unknown. Kid ponders what to build. Makes time to sample spirits from my personal supply. Squirt cider will toughen you right up. Too bad about the musty aftertaste. Kid don't know what's out there waiting for him. The Skyway. Now the kid can ride the wind to distant lands. Now he lands at the intersection between bad and wrong. Ought to be a core down one of these twisted streets. But which one? Up north is where the gas fella foreman used to live, tending to his flock. No white gas fellas all dress alike. Kids wondering the same thing. And there it is, but it's locked down tight in an alloy cage. blustery old foreman's keeping his fellas in check, almost like he's showboating for the crowd. And now there's a new marshal in town. He hears the whole place groan, but it's too tough to fall. Might as well check the other side streets before leaving this hole. He heads for the squirt steps. Won't be no field trip this time. Scumbag can digest just about anything. Except for this. It's quick for slicing and light enough to throw. They say even the most rambunctious squirts can be tamed. Squirts don't make the best of friends, but they can be useful in a pinch. Them squirts just don't know when to quit. He heads for the biggest dump in town. Scumbag alley. Some scumbag still feeding off the city's own trash. And there he is. The oldest scumbag of them all. Gershel. The calamity ain't done much for Gershel's sunny disposition. Kid cuts up Gershel like a vine apple. Old scumbag didn't feel a thing. He heads for the east side, where windbags used to keep the local forge. Somehow that old forge is still standing. Inside the forge, Kid can fine-tune those instruments of his. Kid's lifelong friends looking fit to keep on fighting. With a good length of meat gut, that bow's like new again. The little Zolwood oil on that blade shines like a light. Kid's ready to go, and his ticket out's right where he started. comes back, just like I knew he would. The core hums in his pack. The monument's calling for it. The windbags used to be alright, then the calamity took the floor out from under him. Kid does it again. Only fair he decides what we build next. A lot of things need fixing up in this world, and we can start right here. Picked up traces of other cores while the kid was out. The breakers used to come here for target practice. Used to play a little game. See who could bust the most targets and the fewest shots. He's focused, he's armed, and he's off. A perfect shot just happens in a flash. Solid performance. Kid ain't had enough of the breakers' barracks. Takes practice, and a mighty strong bow helps too. He returns with some of the materials we need. Sometimes a single look says it all. Fetching fizz is like a mouthful of nails, but the benefits are worth it. Couples used to walk the sundown path. Kid ain't here for pleasure, though. But then, somebody gets to the core before the kid. The floor starts giving way under the lightest step. A single panic squirt could bring the whole place down. Fragments of the old world rain from the sky. Stray valuables are lying everywhere. The kid thinks twice about risking his hide for no. Well, the path ain't exactly open to visitors no more. Security's all fired up. See, the path was intended for leisurely strolling and such. Not so much for noise and tomfoolery. Sky bridges link the path together. One of them bridges whips the kid along. Finds a spyglass, like the ones they use to search the stars. Air travel always was an iffy proposition. But calamity changed everything, even where the wind blows. Well, if we mastered the winds in the old days, we can do it again. But the question is, who else could have taken the core? Well, ain't no survivor stole the thing. Scumbag ate it by mistake. Tough break. Unlike the kid, that core ain't coming back. No, they used to ship live munitions down the path. Find time to find them. These wires to toss those things plenty far away. Even gas fellas need some shut-eye from time to time. They get real cranky when you wake them up. careful is the only way to go. In all this toil, Kid keeps coming back to an overwhelming question. Who else could have survived the calamity? So he didn't find a core that time, but that ain't about to stop us. We could always see the stars, we just never could reach them, no matter how high we build. Kid packs a special surprise in every one of those arrows. I almost don't believe it when he says he passed the Breaker's challenge. In better days, the melting pot was sealed tighter than the skin on a squirt. Of all the plans to survive the calamity, it had to be stab weeds. If there's a core, he figures it ought to be deeper down. Core's stuck inside one of those fancy cages. Some of the stuff lying around is downright dangerous. He throws a switch. Now what could possibly go wrong? Quite a bit, as it turns out. The cage starts lifting from the core ever so slow. All Kid can do is wait. Shipments start falling in. At this rate, maybe 5 more minutes. Maybe 30. Hard to tell. Squirts get real territorial around the core. Then a shipment of free samples shows up. One thing's for sure, that cage is awful heavy. It ain't all bad, as the kid finds some spices from the motherland, tax-free. It's a troublesome scene to be sure. Moments left and the core goes free. 10, 9, 8, 7, give or take a few seconds. Finally, the core's within reach. And done. He's got it. Just gotta get to the nearest barge. I still remember the look on his face after that one. Folks voyaged across the boundless sea to found Celandia. It was good living here for a while. The old world's finished, but the new world's just getting started. Turns out those old bones still have some spark in them. Bastion's a place of peace, but we can hold our own if we have to. Bow and a machete, every bit as effective as the fancier stuff. Windbag Ranch was built for gathering squirt extract in copious supply. Ain't nothing more healthful. Place gets awful slick sometimes. Some folks showed up to make a fast buck with nothing but a knife. slippery little devils. Other folks came to train their throwing arms. Still others use the place to test their finest blades. Always time for juice and squirts, they used to say. At least the little fellas can't feel the pain. Some squirts tried to flee on instinct. Best to put them away first, before they rile up the others. Cuts all of them down soon enough. Kid comes back from Windbag Ranch, smelling good and ripe. No place better than Trapper Shingle for learning to tread light and shoot straight. Trappers had to tread real careful here, else take a nasty fall. They trained themselves by clearing out the targets, while not clearing out the floor. Most trappers couldn't get through without a few scrapes. Any good trapper knows never to take a step till the time is right. Expert trappers got something extra to give them an edge. To think a rickety place like the Shingle survived, and so little else did. That ought to make those fangs sink in nice and deep. War machetes are so quick, you gotta keep a good grip on them. Kid decides to keep working his aim and footwork on the shingle. Best time to pick a new spot was when swapping magazines. trappers got what they needed for a better hunt. The trappers would have been impressed with how the kid handled the shingle. The dead welcome him with open arms. The calamity took everybody after all. Kid sees it plain, frozen faces all around. These folks never saw the calamity coming, but someone did. Someone close. It was someone like him. Kid sees him there again, in the flesh. It's a snag or two trying to get to him. He ain't about to stop, no matter what. He's got so many questions after all. Just ain't got time for answers. The Thunder brothers didn't make it. They never saw what it was like beyond the walls. Nor did the bird boy. Didn't make it. The Jawsons, they didn't make it. Grady Sr., Grady Jr., they didn't make it. But him, he survived. Kid finds proof enough that man ain't from around here. Just think, without that man, we wouldn't be here right now, would we? The Corps survived as well. And then... what do you say to a man who's seen too much? Kid hasn't a clue, but he says this. We have to go. Please. He's a proper gentleman, that man. His name is Zolf. No hiding he's an Ura. Folks like him ain't never been a common sight in Caelondia. He's relieved to see a living face or two. The kid and I introduce ourselves in kind. Both to him and to each other, for the first time. For Zolf, Ceylandia was like a second home. He's real worried about his first home, too. Far to the east. We all lost loved ones in the calamity, he says. I don't know how I'm gonna go on without mine. Zolf offers to help me plot the skyways for the kid. At least the calamity hasn't touched the stars, he says. He was born in the Tazzle terminals. The Ura sent him on a mission of peace to our city, and he's lived here ever since. We fought the Ura decades ago, but that was then. Things are different between us now. Kid ain't finished here yet. The cores, they remember. That's why this place is coming together. That's why things are gonna be alright. Well, look what we have here. Lost and found. Here, kid takes fragments of the old world and makes them whole again. All it takes is some fragments, and the Bastion makes it good as new. We tracked down a couple more cores near the edge of the city. No use praying to the gods these days. No time for it either. Kid says a little prayer anyway. Couldn't hurt, right? Folks used to make pilgrimage here, pay their respects to Pith, the bowl, Pith orchard. Place is a dead end in more ways than one. Well, the gods are long gone now, and the orchard core is long gone too. Seems Pith ain't much of a watchdog. Pith stood for something once. Something real. In time, though, the bull stopped being a symbol and started being decoration. Pith makes a decent scarecrow, at least. Then Pith lights up like a rodeo. Ain't easy punching through his hide. breaks him to bits. Must have been guarding that shrine. So what'll it be? Invoke the gods? Or tell them off? Piv. Kid decides to press his luck. Well, if the gods are alive, they must be plenty sore. Kid ain't never seen windbags that quick. Maybe old Piff put a scare in him. Passes Piff's trial, and he's richer for it. The gods don't care about trinkets, but the kid ain't no god. Kid ain't found a core, but at least he found Zolf's precious shrine. Now we can build a shrine of our own, though I got some alternatives in mind. Zolf doesn't touch the thing. Says the god of commotion is no children's toy. The Ura feared the gods. We turned them into toys, put their faces on our walls. There's only one way to cinder brick fort. The hard way. Sure, the city marshals may be gone, but now the fort's crawling with windbags. The calamity was mercy. The windbags ain't so lucky. They've been left to freeze, or starve, or face the kid. Well, windbags young and old keep fighting for the fort. At least the marshals left the kid a parting gift. Something the windbags just can't handle. Something that'll punch clean through their greasy hides. Windbags ain't much different from normal folks. All they want's a warm place to stay and a decent meal. The calamity drove the windbags topside. A lot of them wound up here in this very fort. Could have been minding the business underground like in the old days. Windbags can't use the marshal supplies, but the kid sure can. He stashes the marshal's prize, goes back to something more his style. Cinder Brick gave him enough heat and metal to munch on for a while. Well, the fort ain't theirs by right. Can't blame him for wanting it, though. So many of those sorry things hold up inside that old fort. Kid's stash of grenades is there for him if things get even worse. Security's plain gone haywire. Windbags gummed up the works. trapped the kid in the middle of the fort's parade grounds. Then they bring out Glutus and Glandon and all their scumbags. They got something to gain, their sorry hides to lose. Kid takes down Glutus. Maybe it was Glandon. Big fella soon joins his brother, wherever they are now. The windbags finally get the message. Kid used to dream of getting a marshal's badge, but not like this. And now ain't nothing left for nobody down at Cinderbrick Fort. Kid shows up just as Zulf's telling me about his own journey to the city. Seems the only thing the Calamity saved for Zulf was his smoking pipe. The marshals seem like good men, he says. They treated him with dignity. Zulf brought his antique smoking pipe all the way from the terminals. Even since the Ura surrendered to us, the marshals kept a wary eye on him. Zulf's travels ain't much compared to what the kids had to go through for all this. Behold the Pantheon. A Kobe. The gods never liked competing for people's affections. Cinderbrick stout sure goes down smooth, then stays in your gut like a rock. The repeater and machete, favorite choices of the Ura hunters we once fought. Just don't get any sharper than that. Poor kid collapses after just one drag. The past. Only good thing ever come out of the past is history. Catches up with the kid. Hardly had a moment's rest since all this started. Fair to say he's led a hard life, supposing what he says in his sleep ain't no lie. He never knew his old man, but he had his mama to take care of. Frail thing with pure white hair like his. What was I saying? Anyway. Having his mama's hair did the kid no favors while he was growing up, but he learned to hold his own out there. School ain't working out, so the kid signs up for a turn on the rippling walls. Make his mama some money. Thanks to folks like the kid, the walls kept Zealandia safe from whatever's out there. The elements, the Ura, you name it. Once the kid done his time, he hurried on home. Turns out his mama's time was done too. The city had nothing for him. The money he'd been sending home was nowhere to be found either. So what'd the kid do? Why, he went right on back to the walls for another 5 years. Wait, where was I? In the history of Zealandia, nobody's ever volunteered for a second shift on the walls. Out there, kid learned to fend for himself, learn to build, learn to break. kid earned good standing with the marshals. They trusted him to scout out farther than anybody. Expeditions, the ground beneath them shuddered, cracked, and split apart. He saw nothing where the world used to be. The calamity happened just like that. Maybe now's not the time. All the kid had to work with was his hammer and the clothes on his back. Through twisted streets, he ran with nothing but the city crest and an old stranger's voice to guide him. Finally arrived at Caelondia's vaunted safe haven. He and no one else. But then, all he got was more thankless work from a man who ain't even asked his name. Sure, I may be the one who dreamt up the walls and the Bastion, but the kid made them real, not me. I'd like to say I'll never forget him, or what he's doing, what he's done. I surely would. finders keepers. Javel. Stay absinthe is like drinking a cool breeze. Just don't go spitting needles everywhere. The ranch was always looking for good help. Carves through all of them in a flash. Well, the kid's gone and struck terror in the hearts of squirts everywhere.